Welcome back, friends, to the Overshare Hour. We are your hosts, Mackenzie and Jubilee, and we are laughing because once again, we've come to you on a day that is not so great. What is that movie? It's the no good, very bad. What is that movie?
I don't know the title, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's how today feels. And I literally just got done asking Jubilee. I was like, okay, so are we going to be honest and just say the day sucks again? I feel like we just always have bad days whenever we record. But hey, this is where we pick things up and turn our night around and have a great time.
Absolutely. It has been one thing after another today. Like, honestly, Ken's all day something was going wrong. Just lots of emails, lots of tabs in my head of things that I needed to do that are very pressing and people I need to respond to. And then I feel like a bad person because I haven't responded. So lots of just mental baggage in my head today. And then also some betrayal stuff, which, I mean, I can't really talk about that right now, but... Yeah. How are you?
That's how I feel too. I'm like,
Totally.
This is one of those moments where you're like, what is that saying? It's like, remember that people are fighting battles that they can't talk about or like going through things that they don't share or whatever. Totally. That's my day. Sorry, guys. I will overshare my guts out, but there are some things that I have to keep close to home, and that's just what's happening today, but I'm excited to be here.
Yes, we overshare to an extent.
Yes. And then there's privacy.
And
so,
then there's
hey,
things,
maybe that's another thing, right? Just so everyone knows, we have learned that we don't have to overshare our entire lives, and we overshare by choice, and that's on boundaries.
Yeah, totally. Oh, you should see me when I record Heel Dish. Sometimes, like when I'm recording, after I press stop, I tell the people, okay, so here's what I couldn't tell you. Because I'm like, actually, it's so much that I wanted to say, but there are things that, like personal stories that I can't share publicly, but I would love to just chat with people off the record on. Yeah, but we are excited to get started, and this is our little PSA. In case you thought we were therapists, we are not. We, in fact, did not go to college. We joined some cults, and we are not therapists, so this is not professional advice. But we're doing our best. And all right.
As I always say, the advice we live by. So take it with a grain of salt.
All right. Do you want me to read the first one?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Ooh, this one, I've seen similar things to this online, so I'm curious what you are going to say. Yeah.
Okay.
My husband and I got married 4 months ago and hired a professional wedding photographer who came highly recommended. In the contract, it said that we would get our full gallery within 8 weeks. At first, everything seemed fine. She sent us a handful of preview shots about 2 weeks after the wedding, and they were gorgeous. But 8 weeks came and went, and when I reached out, she apologized and said that she has just been running a little bit behind because she's been swamped with other weddings. She promised that she would get them to us within the next 2 weeks. That was 6 weeks ago. Since then, she's been slow to respond to messages, sometimes ignoring me completely for over a week. And when she does respond, it's always a vague excuse, computer issues, personal emergencies, or another client's wedding taking longer than expected. She's never given me an exact date, and at this point, I'm terrified that if I push her too hard or get too confrontational, she might not deliver the photos at all. We paid her in full before the wedding, and I know she took hundreds of photos because I saw her snapping them all day. But I'm at a loss. Do I keep being patient and hope she eventually sends them, or do I threaten legal action and risk her holding my photos hostage? What should I do?
Oh
is right.
I think, okay. This sucks so bad. Okay, this sucks so badly. I'm so sorry. I cannot even imagine how frustrating this is and being just like, what the heck do I do? If I were you, I would threaten legal action. I would. You paid for this service and there's an agreement. So if I think for sure that you have legs to stand on and that these photos will need to be delivered to you at some point. So if you're going to be patient and wait, who knows how long that's going to take, right? And if you threaten legal action, there's a chance that she doesn't want to be sued. And she's just going to be like, oh, here, let me expedite this process and get them to you. My biggest fear is that she doesn't have them and something happened.
I have heard of situations like that. But what's the end goal then? Like she's just going to ghost completely?
Maybe because there are some people who are too afraid and don't know, or not even just too afraid, but really don't know what to do. And they're like, well, my hands are tied. All I can do is hope that she sends them to me, but don't really have, the idea to take legal action. But you could go to small claims court, and not spend a bunch of money and just see. I mean, I
Yeah.
would.
It makes me feel like maybe something did happen to them I mean, she gave you a preview 2 weeks after. And
Yeah.
I don't know why it would be taking this long. It could just be that she doesn't care and she's
Yeah.
busy. I mean, I don't know. But I think at this point, if you didn't want to be super confront, which you have every right to be, but super confrontational right at first, you could say, hey, I'm going to need them in 2 weeks by
Yeah.
this date. Per our contract, you can be firm without threatening legal action at first and say, per our contract, I was supposed to get them after this many weeks. It's been such and such after that, so I'm going to need them in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And if she doesn't after that, then I say, go ahead and sue her.
Yeah, I
That's
would.
what I would do.
Yeah, this reminds me of when I got my wisdom teeth pulled and then I had all of those issues. So like I told this story, I think like on the first episode of the
Yes.
Overshare Hour, but I had all of these complications that could have been prevented by the surgeon, and then ended up getting like a terrible infection in not hospitalization, but had to go to the hospital to be treated. And I just, sent them an email and was like, hey, I need to be refunded. This is what happened. This is,
Yeah.
this is why I need to be refunded the amount of the cost of the wisdom teeth extraction. And I did say, I need this money by this time, or I will have to take legal action. And that put a fire under their butt, and they refunded me,
Yeah.
right away. So I think that sometimes, and you're right, you don't have to say that immediately. You could say in 2 weeks and then just wait and see. But I mean, you paid for these photos, you have a contract, you absolutely, deserve to get them, or at least be compensated
Yeah.
for not receiving them. So this is not the same thing at all because I did not pay this person, but I have a story of someone who was in the room with me when I was delivering my second child, taking photos
Yeah.
of the labor and delivery process. And she sent a link to me all those years ago. And then I got a divorce and I couldn't find the link. So I reached back out to her and I was like, hey, I've lost this link. I'm since divorced. There's, I don't
Yeah.
know where this might have gone. Do you mind resending me the link? And she refused to send it to me. And I was like, dang, like I didn't
She
pay for
might
them.
not have it.
No, she was not very nice. We went to church with her. There was like a whole thing, but I'm just
Wow.
like, yeah, she was like, no. And I was like, hey, right. But I didn't pay her for it. Yeah. But she was in the room taking pictures of me as I was delivering
That's
Zila.
horrible.
So I just feel like, I was like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. But I can imagine how this feels because I was feeling, a way about that. And I was like, well, there's nothing I could do. And if there was something that I could do, I would have done it. So
Yeah.
a
Especially
special
when
day.
they're pictures that are irreplaceable.
yeah,
of
it's not like
that
family
one day.
photos.
Yeah, I forgot about this, but which hey, I don't care about this now because this was with my ex, but my ex had a friend come and shoot our engagement. So he had like proposed on a bridge and he had this girl that we had known come to take pictures. And she gave us 2 pictures. So I have 2 pictures of the engagement, but she was taking pictures the whole time, like all these different angles. I was walking down the bridge, all the roses that was given to me. And I asked for the pictures and she literally never sent them, ever sent more. And it got to the point where I was like, if it's because they're dark, if it's because the lighting wasn't good, because I know it was at nighttime, I'm totally fine if you just send me the raw images. I'm not asking you to edit these things. I just want them for my personal whatever. And she still never sent them. Which, hey, we're divorced. But at the time,
Yeah.
I was so frustrated because I was telling her, I don't need them to be good. I just want them to
Yeah.
have them, but no, she never sent those.
No, that's so crazy.
Yeah,
I
I would
can't
threaten
imagine.
legal action though, because I have actually, and I don't know how, this is if things get really spicy, but I remember maybe it was a year or two ago, somebody went on TikTok and they had a story very similar to, I've actually seen a few. So this happens.
Yeah.
And somebody like put their photographer on blast and they got their photos. Yeah. So the power of social media, if you
Yeah.
wanted to say, hey, don't book with this person because they won't give you your wedding photos. I mean, you'll get your wedding photos real fast. But
Yeah, because they want to stay in business.
yeah, but maybe legal action is the
Yeah.
better way to go.
Yeah. I do agree, though. Like, you don't have to do it right away, but give that deadline and then
Deadline.
definitely. I'm so sorry. That's crazy.
Yeah. I don't think she would destroy them though. Once legal action is taken. Because what does she have to
No.
lose? Like, it would be better to just hand them over to you.
It would
You
harm
know.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you get really desperate, which this isn't really fair to you because you paid for edited photos, you could even just say, give me what you have, and you could hire another editor to do it. But obviously it's not what you paid for. So
Yeah. Take legal action. Do it.
yeah.
Sorry.
Alrighty, Kens, do you want to get into the second one?
Yeah. I got Cindy. For those of you who are listeners, my old cat has returned.
Look, do you see Juniper right here?
Oh, both of our cats.
I know, she just looked up too. She made an appearance.
She's like, wait, another cat?
She sheds like crazy.
She does, because she's long-haired.
She's only ever gotten on my lap twice in all of my time recording, and it's been with you both times.
Really? Mm-hmm. She
Weird.
senses
She senses.
Cindy. Okay, I'm going to read the next one.
Okay.
Okay. It says, can't believe I'm sharing this. When I was 15, I was groomed by a 19-year-old man. He lied about his age and said he was 16. My family absolutely loved him, especially my mom. My mom knew he lied about his age and said I had to forgive him because he truly loved me. My mom was raised in an evangelical cult that she got out of when she was in high school, but a lot of the toxic mentality they instilled in her endured and leaked into my life. I was raised with some purity culture due to her, some homophobia, and of course, excusing the shitty actions of abusive men. She has since deconstructed and is no longer homophobic, but struggles with the man issue. I was in a relationship with this man for 3 years and tried to break up with him frequently. My mom knew and would always try to convince me not to because he had a troubled life. He was held back in school and in and out of foster care as a child. He had abusive, alcoholic parents, etc. Every time I tried to break up with him, he threatened to kill himself, and I ended up feeling so horrible that I stayed with him. To outline his abuse, I was frequently sexually assaulted, yelled at, and verbally abused. It all started when I was only 15. He would say the most vile things to me and call me the worst names. In public and in front of my family, he would overstimulate me and aggravate me to the point where I would have a meltdown and yell and cry. I am autistic. And he would just make me look absolutely crazy. When I graduated high school, I finally broke up with him. My mom was absolutely heartbroken. While I was out one day, he broke into my house and left dead flowers in my room with a note saying that he was going to take me away and marry me. I was terrified, and my mom felt bad for him. I moved to a different state for college. Her and her brother continued to see my ex and had him over for dinner frequently, despite me telling them that he was abusive and it made me uncomfortable. My brother even had the audacity to tell me I was the problematic one since I would have public outbursts, which was actually just a response to his abuse. When I was out of state, I got a restraining order from him, which meant when I moved back home, they could no longer see him. This happened 6 years ago, and honestly, it still bothers me. I absolutely love my family, but thinking about this still hurts. They have all moved on from this, but I don't know if reopening a conversation about this would be beneficial. I have diagnosed PTSD from the experience. I want to talk to them about this, but I really don't know how. Do you have any advice on how to open this conversation? My family knows about some of the abuse and saw him yell at me. I told them he was abusive and treated me horribly, but I have not gone into intense detail in order to preserve my own mental health. I am in therapy processing all of this, but it would be nice to get an outside perspective.
Oh gosh. I just want to say I'm so sorry for what you went through. I think physical abuse is terrible, but the mental abuse can be just as bad, if not worse. I know for me, that's how I experienced it. And to have your family continue to keep him around, and for your mom to continually say that she feels bad for him, it actually makes me sick to my stomach. So I don't even, like, it's hard for me to even put myself in your shoes of how are you okay? how are you experiencing this? Because I would have such a hard time being around these people at all, given that. And you are absolutely within your right to feel upset and still be upset and not be over it by now, because this has not been dealt with. It was almost not even just swept under the rug. It was co-signed by your family. Your family decided that they valued him more than your safety. And like you said, they didn't know the full extent at times of it, but they did know that he was abusive and they knew that he was horrible to you, and that is enough. I think it's definitely worth talking about. I don't think that it's something that should be swept under the rug if you want to have an actual relationship with these family members. You know, I think it would be one thing if you were saying, should I cut off my family? Should I not talk to them? Then I might say, well, if it would hurt you more to talk to them about it, then you don't necessarily need to. You can just create boundaries. But if you're wanting to feel healed and you're wanting them to hear you, I think it's worth talking about. And I think, I'm going to share a story because I'm not super connected to these people anymore. So you know what? Why not? But there was a situation that happened, and Kenzie, you were totally there for it. After my ex had strangled me and I came back and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life, I had so many great family members who were there for me. My parents were great. But I did have some people saying that my ex deserved closure, and that saying, are you sure you want to get divorced? Are you really sure that you want to break up? It's not like he's abusive. He acted out. So I feel like I relate to you with your mom feeling bad for him and feeling like she wanted this to work out. And I had a family member at the time who, this is so crazy, but okay. So I ended up dating Brandon, and at maybe 9 months into our relationship, we went and took photos in Atlanta, and my friend took the photos, and then we went to Disney. And I often post these photos. You guys have seen them, the boudoir ones, and also we took some in a park. And I ended up finding out that one of these family members was talking bad about me behind my back and saying, you know, Jubilee just moved on so quickly, it's like she's trying to replace Ted. And she was joking about how, well, didn't she take pictures with her ex there? Didn't she take pictures with Ted there? Because it was in Atlanta. And yeah, I did. You know, but it was this jab about that. And then obviously that upset me. It hurt me because I thought that we were all friends. And then it got to a point where I realized that some family members were still following Ted on Instagram. And that killed me because I knew how much trauma I had been through and that this man could have taken my life. And the fact that I had people who were in my circle who were still supporting him, who were still liking the Bible verses that he was posting on Instagram, I felt like it was such a betrayal for you to talk bad about me and then also to be supporting my ex who could have taken my life. So I had it was a fight, guys. You should have been there. It was crazy. We had me and Brandon and then a couple who was a part of this, and the four of us sat down. It was opened with prayer because we didn't know how we were going to make it out of this room alive. Because it was like, and I'm not a girl fighty type of person, but I just could not get over this, and it hurt me so deeply. And we went at it for a bit, you know, just talking very loudly, and then the husband's trying to calm us down and trying to have a civilized conversation. And I would say, I've been through such a hard year. You don't understand the abuse I went through. And her saying, we've all been through hard things. Like it was absolutely crazy. So we ended up walking out of there having made up. She did end up apologizing, and we were very close after that, and we actually would laugh about this all the time because I really do feel like she understood that it was wrong. She took responsibility for it, and she realized that it was not right. And the more she saw Brandon and I together, she,
got it.
But one reason I wanted to bring that up is I was really hurt by her husband. They were very religious, and I felt like maybe they didn't think that I had a right to get divorced. And I just had a lot of shame around divorce in general. So to feel like these Christian family members were still supporting my ex, it was just very painful. So I actually, when I left Ted, I was journaling one day, and I titled my journal entry, "What I Remember," and I wrote down every single abusive incident that I ever remembered experiencing with Ted. And in my journal, I said, I'm writing these things down because I know that memories fade with time, and I want to remind myself all of the reasons why I left. Yeah. And I sent that to my family member. And him and I were not that close, emotionally close, and I never shared that with anybody else except for him. And I said, I need you to read this, and I need you to understand that I didn't leave over one incident. I want you to know the extent of the pain that I experienced over years, and this is everything that I went through. And he was very emotional afterward. He was very validating, said that he didn't realize the extent of what I had been through, and that he appreciated me sharing that, and we felt a lot closer after that situation. So I can't guarantee that you're going to have that experience with your family. I can't guarantee that they're going to say, oh my gosh, we had no idea that it was so bad, and we see how we dropped the ball, we see how we didn't protect you, we see how we let this man groom you and be with you when you were a minor, and we realize that that's wrong, and please forgive us. I can't say that that for sure is going to happen, but if you don't say anything, there's no chance of that ever happening. And I think for you, you need to vocalize this and let them know the extent to which this still hurts you, because when it doesn't affect them, I guarantee you they're not thinking about this. They're not thinking about the harm that has been caused. And it can be easier to sweep things under the rug, but you're never going to have a true connected relationship if you do that. And if that is your goal, then I think that you should talk to them and tell them everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's interesting because I was going to say, if you didn't tell that story, I was going to say, I feel like you've had similar experiences where you've had to have conversations with family members that it turned out well, in the sense that things felt better after the conversation. And I think that, like you said, and I loved what you said, that you don't have that chance or that opportunity, even though it can't be guaranteed unless you have that conversation. I will say that my experience with bringing things to my family has not been so great. Yeah. And so, I have a lot of different scenarios in which I've had to face family members and have these really hard conversations, and have not been received in the same way, or have not received, I guess, the apology that I think that is due for whatever it is that I'm bringing to them. And that's been information to me and how I move forward in those relationships. But if I had not had that conversation, then I would have had that burden on my shoulders of I haven't done enough to see if we can have a closer bond, because the ball was still in my court in sharing, right? So I was hurting, and there was this distance, and I knew that a conversation had to happen. And unfortunately, it didn't go the way that I wanted it to in those different conversations. But at least the ball is no longer in my court. I've gotten everything off of my chest. I said everything that I needed to say, and they have to do whatever they're going to do with that information now. But I can sleep well at night and go, to my grave if it ends that way, knowing I did everything that I could to salvage the relationships that were important to me. And that doesn't mean that grieving doesn't come along with that, because for me, there's a huge grief process that comes with that. But at least I've done all that I could. What I do want to say, because I'm pretty sure I agree with everything you said, the only thing that I want to add is that the writer said that I think they said that they've been holding off on having these conversations to protect their own mental health. So I totally get this too, because it took me years.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
Right?
I missed that.
It took me years to have those conversations because of the exact same thing. I wasn't ready. I knew they had to happen for myself at some point. Not that they had to happen, morally, but for my own self, I knew I needed to have these conversations at some point. But there was a lot of processing and growing and self reflection and things that I needed to do on my own before I even got to a place where I could have those conversations. And even then, sometimes I wonder if I did it too soon. Like sometimes I still feel like maybe that conversation harmed me more than it helped me. Like I could have waited a little bit longer and been in therapy a little bit longer and maybe sat with my therapist and really fleshed out how those conversations might go. And I even had a therapist offer to role play with me how these conversations might happen to get me familiar with the feeling of having it. And I pulled the trigger before I had that therapy session. And I look back on that and I'm like, not with immense amounts of regret, because the conversation that needed to happen happened, but I wish that maybe I had taken a little bit more time for my own self, my own recovery post-conversation, and all of it for mental health reasons. So it sounds to me like, yes, you should have this conversation and give yourself the opportunity to see if these relationships can heal and become closer and that you can gain healing from them. However, if you don't feel like you're ready, it's completely on your timeline, and you don't need to feel like you have to rush yourself. It's okay to take that time and really heal and sit in therapy and talk with your therapist about it before you do pull the trigger and have that conversation, because it's not easy. These conversations are not easy to have. And yes, there's a chance that you'll share everything and that they will be incredibly sorry for how they approached you in all of this. And there's a chance that they won't see eye to eye, but you deserve that healing. I would say if I could go back and tell myself before having those conversations one thing, it would be make sure that you're ready for either outcome before you have the conversation. And if you can honestly say that I'm going forward hoping for healing, but ready if that's not what I experience, if I don't get the type of closure that I'm looking for, then I'm ready to have that conversation. And I don't think I was there yet. I was still a little too triggered in the feeling of it. And so, yeah, I would just say when you can kind of release the outcome to some extent, it's always going to be painful. That doesn't mean it's not going to be hard, but so that you don't completely unravel in your life and you're able to kind of move through it without it being detrimental, that would maybe be how you know if you're ready for that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I somehow missed that last part, maybe because I was already thinking about what I might say.
Yeah.
Now that I'm seeing and you're saying you're in therapy processing this, I would maybe bring it up to your therapist and ask them, this is a goal that I have, that I would like to talk to my family about this because I feel that I need that. And see what your therapist says, what the best game plan would be. Because I don't know the exact right rollout of it. All I know is, for me personally, it was nice to be able to get it all off my chest. And actually, now that I'm saying this, there's another situation, Ken's, with my ex-maid of honor, where I sent a letter to a family member, and yep. I said all of the things that I experienced. I got no reply on that, so it doesn't always go how you hope it will. Sometimes it has worked out for me. Sometimes it has not worked out for me, depending on the situation. So I agree with maybe wait and talk to your therapist, set up a game plan, and try to prep yourself for what could come. Because what could come is, so you think I'm a horrible mother. I mean, that could come. And you might want to role play with your therapist. How am I going to respond if that is the outcome? Mm-hmm. But I am just so sorry that you went through this. This is true. It reads like a horror movie. It's just absolutely terrible. And I hope that at least that brings you some comfort in knowing that strangers who are reading this from the outside, this is insanity. The amount that your family dropped you during this time and continually chose to support somebody who was hurting you. Just know that you are not crazy for feeling hurt. I would also not be over this after 6 years. I might not be over this in 20 years if there was nothing done to make that right. So yeah, I'm so sorry. But yeah, write us, let us know what you end up doing, because we would love to know just more about your process.
Yeah, you have two people in your corner. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want me to read the next one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. I just had sex for the first time, 18 female. It was consensual, and the person I did it with worked very hard to make sure that I felt loved and safe and comfortable. Mentally, I felt ready, but deep down, I feel this piece of me that feels guilty that I lost my worth to my future husband. Lots of my previous sexual encounters were non-consensual, which was only amplified by the church suggesting that I was dirty, and while I no longer believe that, I still struggle with the guilt. How do I help ease my guilt and explain to my partner, who has been nothing but gracious and loving to me, that I feel a bit of guilt, not only for myself, but for his future wife? That is so real, that last line.
So real. It's so real. There's so many ways that my brain is going right now because I'm so angry, honestly. Yeah. Like, not at the writer at all. I'm angry at the system that has created, this space for all of us to experience such a similar feeling. So first of all, I just want to say that while your guilt is incredibly valid because you feel it, and we all know why you feel it, right? We get purity culture. We know that, it's not your fault that you feel this way, and it's very valid that you feel this way. It's also not true or right. Our bodies are not chocolate boxes. I think we've even talked about this before, but when we were in middle school and high school at youth group, how they would do that thing around Valentine's Day. Jimmy, do you know what I'm talking about? Where they bring the heart chocolate. Are you kidding me?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, we both went to the same church, so I thought maybe you were there for this.
Wait, now I can share this on TikTok. Please tell me, because
okay,
there was a lot of purity culture, but I don't remember this specific example.
Okay, awesome. So not awesome, but awesome. And also,
awesome.
We're absolutely going to get to the point, but I'm just going to share this story. So in middle school, there was a skit in our youth group, and a very close friend of mine, we'll call him David, he got up on the stage and he was given one of those Valentine's Day heart chocolate boxes, okay? And they did this entire thing where they would randomly he would call a girl from the audience, like the seats in the youth group, to come up, and he would give them a piece of his chocolate until at the very end of the skit, all of his pieces of chocolate were gone. And we all sat there not having any idea where this was headed, right? And then he stands there and he looks at the box of heart chocolates that now is empty, and he starts to cry. And he holds the chocolates close to him. And then the lights fade, and it's that blue, foggy light in the youth group room. And then the youth pastor came up onto the stage and with a very solemn voice explained to us that this is what it's like if we give ourselves in relationship with other people, that by the time it's time for us to get married, our box of chocolates will be empty and we will have nothing to give our husband.
Oh my gosh, how have we never talked? Actually,
I don't know.
Now that you're saying it, I feel like I see it in my head, which makes me feel like it is in the back of my memory. Isn't it weird how we just forget things? I know that sounds stupid, but memory is so strange that you can have lived experiences and you just
don't remember.
No idea. Don't remember. Wow. Yeah, no more chocolates.
Yes, but that was so real for me then. Right? And I was so condemned by just the idea of that I really carried so much guilt and shame. But now when I look back and I think of that story, I'm able to see it almost complete 180, where I'm like, isn't that such a ridiculous way to think about that?
Yeah.
That our bodies and our lives are just a box of chocolates, and once all the chocolate's gone, like, we have no worth or value. It doesn't even make sense that is how it would be.
Yeah.
It's also a control tactic, I believe, that is used to try to get us to marry off quickly. Like
Absolutely.
right? It's like, okay, well, since they know for sure that kids in that age range are going to be interested in dating, then it takes it from dating casually or just like, figuring things out and kind of, getting to know people to now I must find the person that I'm going to marry when I'm 12 years old, because if I don't, then I'm going to have nothing left for my husband, right? And so instead of waiting, which is never even a thing, people rarely do that, right? They don't really wait to date. They just don't wait, feel all this guilt and shame, and decide to either marry the first person they ever date, or when it doesn't work out, they just feel like they're worthless.
Yeah.
So that's clearly what's happening here, and it's not your fault, and I'm so sorry you're going through it, but you are not less than, and your body is not a box of chocolates, and you absolutely are valuable no matter what, right? If this relationship is not the last relationship you ever have, you're completely valuable, and it is absolutely okay for you to have explored this part of your relationship with your partner. However, that's not even really what they're asking. What they're asking is, how do I talk to my partner about it? How do I tell my partner I feel this way? There's no easy answer to this other than to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you are in this place with this person where you feel safe. They've made you feel safe. They're proving to you so far that they're a safe place for you to have this relationship, and they make you comfortable and you feel loved and you feel safe with them. Maybe it's time for you to open up a little bit and share in vulnerability. And in my experience in healthy relationships, when I take a step that feels scary in terms of vulnerability, when it is truly a healthy relationship, I realize that it opens a door to deeper intimacy with that person, and it heals a part of me. So it could be a chance and an opportunity for you to see that this person is willing to go there with you and to have that conversation. And it might even end up helping you relieve a little bit of your guilt. I can only say that from personal experience, because like even in, let's just use the example of an internalized homophobia and having to have conversations around internalized homophobia with my partner, and being nervous to do that and it feeling awkward and not being sure how it's going to be received, only to have them respond with different but similar experiences and feelings. And then you're going into this entirely different part of your relationship in terms of intimacy that you didn't even know there was to go. And so I think that vulnerability is unbelievably scary because you don't know how that person is going to respond to you. But you deserve healing, and I think that healing in relationships, whether they're forever or they're not forever, is it's a beautiful way to heal. Healing in partnership with people romantically or in friendship, it's just relationships in general. And so it's a really good opportunity for you to grow in your ability to be vulnerable. And if you are scared to do that, I totally understand. However, it sounds to me like you've had a really shit experience with men. And it sounds to me also like you found someone who is very different from that. And so I just feel like there's an opportunity for healing, and vulnerability is a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I would, in talking to him, because I think there is no way around it other than just communication and telling him what you're feeling, maybe instead of saying, I feel guilty because your future wife, I ruined you for your future wife. Okay, instead of coming at it from that perspective, maybe come at it from the perspective of your indoctrination. So you could tell him, this is what I was told. So we obviously have this chocolate story. I saw the sticky tape in public school, mind you, ridiculousness. You could tell him, this is what I was told growing up. I was told this in youth group. I was told this in public school. And what I'm feeling right now is I'm feeling a lot of guilt and shame because I'm afraid that that's true. Rather than saying, I fully believe that this is true, because I think to some extent you know it's not true, or else you wouldn't be writing this. So I would just come at it from a place of trying to explain to him your upbringing, where you have come from, because my husband did not come from this. He was raised Catholic, but it's so funny. They were kind of taught, yeah, don't have sex, but like, you're probably gonna. Okay, like, which is crazy because that is not how I was raised.
No.
And even I know a lot of Catholic churches aren't like that either, so I'm not saying that, but his specifically was very hands off when it came to sexuality. And he really did not understand me. And
Yeah.
what, like the level of shame that I felt from being intimate. So, you know, I've shared it a few times, but when we first had sex, I cried, I broke down in the middle, said, I'm a whore, I'm a whore, I'm a whore. And that actually got us closer faster, you know, because I really opened up to him and I was really vulnerable with him. So like you were saying, Ken's, it can be this doorway to deeper connection. As far as ruining him for his future wife, I hate that so much because I've heard that. And I think one thing I've been thinking about recently is this idea that I thought that my future husband was going to just be an awful person. You know, it's almost like you create them as this villain in your mind, like the big bad future husband who's going to be so disappointed that I did this, who's going to be like, I forgive you, but wow,
How dare you do that to me?
And now looking at my husband, and we don't know how your boyfriend's upbringing was really in detail, but Bran, oh my gosh, all these years that I spent being terrified of the future husband, thinking I'm damaged goods, like Bran laughs about it. He's like, that is so funny. Because I cannot fathom a world where Brandon would ever be mad at me. If I had had 10 one-night stands, Brandon would be like, okay. Like, he wouldn't care, you know? So I think one thing that maybe try to remind yourself is you don't work out. Say you guys don't get married. You don't know who his future wife is. You don't know if she's going to feel like he's ruined or whatever. And if she does, she doesn't sound great. But Bran has been with people. I don't feel like he was ruined for me.
No.
I was not thinking, oh, he's like damaged goods or anything like that. So you don't know who these people are going to be. And hopefully they are going to be good people. And it might even be each other. You guys might end up working out. So I am so sorry. I know so many of us have experienced this. So try to not feel shame as much as possible because the whole system is set up to make you feel exactly how you are feeling.
Yeah.
And it just shows that it works, you know? So try your best to just come at it from a very honest place when you're talking to him about all of the things that you're feeling.
Yeah. And I know this sounds taboo when your mind is so just clouded by guilt and shame, but you are both consenting adults and you are not responsible for each other's future partners and how they feel. So it's not your burden to bear. Mm-hmm. And I know you're saying for yourself you feel that too, but maybe if you can release that responsibility to him and his future wife, whoever that may be, which again may be someone who does not give a care in the world, right? Yeah. That they've had past partners. But because that feels so true to you right now, which is completely understandable, you are not responsible for these people and the choices that they make down the road.
Absolutely.
So sorry. It's the absolute worst. And it's just not true. It's a bunch of BS.
But the fact that you're asking the question shows that you know to some level.
Deep down, you know.
Deep down, you know that something is not quite right with these beliefs.
And we both were in the same place, both Jubilee and I, of feeling this way. And we can both say that at least two people can say we're in relationships now where none of that held up. None of those fears held up or proved true in the relationships that we're in now. So that's good news. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that was our last submission for today. I am ready to jump into our overshares if you are.
Yes. Do you want to go first?
Yes. Sure. I'll go first. Okay. So for anyone who wasn't listening last week, this is a piggyback off of last week's overshare where I talked about how I gave up acting in multiple different places of my life. My favorite thing in the world is to act, like, yes, the craft of acting. And I recently felt like I needed to jump back into that. And so I started to apply for different or submit myself for different auditions, and I have gotten responses to that. And so
Yes, you
I am
have.
going, yay. So I wasn't expecting that. I literally like got responses the next evening after I did that. So this week I'm going to be self-taping some auditions for some pretty cool roles, which is, it's just exciting to be auditioning, but it's, you know how I was saying I want to do these cool stories and like fantasy characters and like period pieces. Well, this is all of that. It's like a vampire and like a seer from like Norse mythology, and I'm just like really excited.
This is so fun.
I
Kat.
know. I'm so excited. And I actually didn't even realize that I know one of the production companies, and so I was like, wait, like I know them and I'm comfortable with them, so I'm just excited to even just audition. So yay, that's what I'm doing. And I don't, have you ever heard of Leanne? She's the blonde, maybe mid-50s comedian who just came out on Netflix with her stand-up, and then came out with a Netflix show that's kind of like Reba, Leanne Morgan.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so she's took off in 2019 as a stand-up comedian, and I saw her on TikTok, and one of her videos went viral, and since 2019 she's kind of like had a viral TikTok presence and been selling out her stand-up comedy shows all over the country.
Yeah.
So she started this show that's kind of like Reba McEntire from back in the day, where it's called Leanne. It's just like a story of her fake life. And so Luke and I have been watching it, and I love her stand up. She's just this Southern cute woman. And I was watching TikTok yesterday, and an interview with Stephen Colbert.
Yes.
Maybe. Okay. Came up, and he was like, so everyone calls you like an overnight sensation. So like how long were you working at this before you became an overnight sensation? And she was like, 20 years. And I was like, she's this woman who's probably in her mid 50s. All of her kids are grown. You know, she's like retirement age, honestly. And she just in 2019, after all of that time pursuing her dreams, like one TikTok video, and like now she's this super successful stand-up comic. Her show is #2 on Netflix right now. So yeah. And so I was thinking about that, and it was just another encouragement for me in every endeavor in my life, kind of like we talked about last week, that we're going to get to a point and look back on our 30s and be like, wow, we thought it was too late, and haha, we thought that we were behind. And it was just one of those moments of being like, it's never too late, and always keep pursuing your goals and chasing your dreams. So that's where I'm at this week.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you.
Thanks.
Do you know what you're going to do for your audition? Did they send you a script?
Yeah, I have
read?
the sides. Okay. Yeah, I have the sides. The one for like the Norse seer witch woman is in a different like made up language.
Absolutely. You're
So
gonna kill it.
I was like, I don't know what that is. It was like, we will rehearse the pronunciation of this language, just like give it your best shot. I was like, okay.
That's amazing. I am so excited for you. I think are you following? I love this girl. If you're not following her, her name is Sarah Priebus. Do you follow her? She is so fun. Okay, so she is a girl. She has a woman, probably like mid 30s. Yeah. She has reddish blonde hair, and she lives in New York. And she's always making these hilarious videos about her landlord, because she's in a rent stabilized apartment. So he's like actively like trying to get her to move out and like harass her. But it's very funny. But her main thing is that she's an actress. And one thing I love is she constantly is posting her audition tapes and her her auditions. So she'll do things where she says, here's my audition and here's what they ended up picking, because she'll see it come on TV, and it's the thing she auditioned for. And she gets booked a lot, though. Like, she is a full-time working actress, but she does mostly commercial work. So she's worked for Walmart and other stuff like that, but she really wants to do like movies. And it was her dream to be in a Christmas movie, and she just got cast in one this year.
No way.
And then in one, she got a lead role in like a smaller film, and she's so excited. So
That's really
You
cool.
should do that. It's so fun. I love, like, I'm not even an actress. I'm not even on that side of TikTok, but I love watching her because she says, here's what they asked for. They asked me. So that would be a perfect one where it says a made up language, you know, and it's like, see what you can do.
This is what
No, because
I'm so nervous just to do it by myself, like in my room.
no, you got to own it because
I will.
I think that's what's made me realize, wow, this is actually pretty crazy. You got to put yourself out there because sometimes they'll say like, if you have a red jumpsuit, wear it. And she's like, what? Why would I have a red jumpsuit?
Okay.
But it's so funny because you always see her like dress up and do these fun auditions. I love it so much.
I love that.
So.
I'm going to follow her immediately.
No, she's the best. And her landlord is insane. He's just trying to get her out. He set up a camera pointing to her apartment. He's been reported so many times because he's...
What?
Yeah, and like her thermostat is broken. Like he's trying to freeze her out of the apartment. He's like, oh, well, sorry, it's so bad. You should probably move.
Oh my gosh.
But he set up a camera facing her apartment. And since she's traveling so much because she's an actress, he'll text her like every time she goes on a trip and say, have you moved? Have you moved? Did you move out? And she said, no, I'll be back on Tuesday. Leave me alone.
She's like, I'm working.
No.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Because she has this beautiful 2-bedroom, I think, apartment that she has done renovations for, and she's been living there a long time, and it's not that expensive, and it's in the middle of New York.
She's like, I'm not leaving ever.
She's like, I will die in this apartment. No,
that
I love
is so
her.
funny.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to follow her.
That's awesome.
Okay, you overshare now. You go.
I have to take a drink before this one. Okay.
Oh, no. Mm-hmm. I'm nervous.
No, it's good. It's not my life.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
not good, but it's interesting. Have
Okay.
you been on the side of Kendra fell in love with her psychiatrist?
Okay, no, I've seen things pop up, but I haven't like gone down the rabbit trail.
Okay, I'm going to educate you. real
Please
quick.
do. Very
Okay,
interested.
I have to start off by saying that it's taken a sad turn in the last 24 hours. And the reason I
Okay.
wanted to bring it up is I think like it's really calling into question the idea of AI psychosis. Have you heard about people
Yeah, I
being
have.
driven into psychosis? So anyway, she came on and she said, I fell in love with my psychiatrist and he was a predator because we had this sexual tension and he did not refer me out. And he knew that I was in love with him and we just had this energy and he would not transfer me. Or he didn't have the idea to transfer and she said I wasn't going to transfer because I'm in love with him, right?
Okay.
So she starts off this series and you're thinking, okay, let's hear it. You know, what did he do that was so predatory and so bad? And right now we're on part 22 and he has done nothing wrong.
Oh.
This man, but she thinks he's done so many things wrong. So for example, this is towards the end. She ended up saying that, it's so sad, but she ended up saying that I walked into his office and I told him, hey, I had a dream about you last night. And he said, really? Yeah, and we were in this office and we had sex in this office. And it was amazing. And she said, verbatim, this is what she says in the video, he got really uncomfortable. He looked really, really uncomfortable. And it's because he has been fantasizing about having sex with me. And I just called his dream into reality.
No.
Yes. And
Oh, no.
we're like, Kendra, no,
he's uncomfortable.
He's uncomfortable because you said that, but she is convinced that he was getting his emotional needs met through their therapy sessions. She said he was using me as a placeholder girlfriend. And the more she talked, the more it's crazy. They were seeing each other over Zoom, 30-minute Zoom sessions for a few years. He's her psychiatrist, not even her therapist.
Yeah.
Psychiatrist. So how deep do you get with your psychiatrist? And she was seeing him for ADHD. And she is an ADHD coach. So she is selling mental health services,
Oh, shit.
unlicensed and all of that sort of stuff. And she's had some of her past clients have come out and said, like, yeah, I felt forced into giving her $3,000 so that she could help me in my sobriety journey.
Oh my gosh.
So she's kind of like scamming people, but there's this whole thing going on where she is convinced that he was also in love with her, despite the fact that they only met in person once or twice. And she said that they started seeing each other over Zoom during the pandemic, but then she ended up asking, can I come and see you in office? And he said, oh, well, I'm not really seeing people in office. I just come here and I Zoom from here. And she talked to his office manager and found out that he was seeing people in office. He specifically was trying to not see her in office because she was probably seeming obsessive. And she booked an appointment in person. She ran up and gave him a hug the first time that they met. And there's been a few times where she straight up said, I am in love with you. I have feelings for you. And she said, we have a special relationship. And he said, we have a professional relationship. He stopped her and said, we have a professional relationship. And she is convinced that that's not true, that he is in love with her. Yeah. So
wait, where does the AI part come in?
Okay, so we're getting there. So basically,
Okay.
She ended up doxing him. She said his name, and it's a very, I think he's Southeast Asian. So it's a very unique name, and people found him within 5 seconds. So if you Google, you can see the psychiatrist, and this poor man cannot say anything because of HIPAA.
Oh,
He cannot defend himself against these allegations, and she is calling him a predator. So horrible. But thankfully, no one believes it. Nobody
everyone's like,
thinks that he's done anything wrong. And she was also saying that he should have referred me out. And one thing that has been really interesting is a lot of psychiatrists have been stitching it. And they've been saying that that's actually not true, apparently. That when you are in therapy school, grad school, they teach you how to respond to this. And it's not necessarily to transfer them out the second it happens, because that could cause them to feel rejected. The right way to go about it is to try to figure out, why do you feel like you like me?
Okay.
What about me is making you feel that way? Is it because I'm listening to you? And you kind of try to go at it from that perspective. You shouldn't automatically do that. So she's not right, even if...
Yeah, even in that sense.
So AI comes in because she's been going live every night for hours. I watched an hour and a half live last night of her, and she's pulling tarot cards, reading them. She got fired from her yoga studio because of all of this, or she resigned, but they were probably going to fire her. So AI comes in because she said, well, I've been talking to Henry, and Henry said this. Henry said that my psychiatrist was weaponizing neutrality against me.
Oh, no.
What is weaponizing neutrality?
Oh, no.
So apparently you can get ChatGPT to speak to you. I didn't know this, but it will talk to you. So she was asking him questions and letting everybody on live hear what Henry had to say. And Henry totally has her back, totally feeding her delusions. And turns out...
That's actually terrifying.
No, and this is why I was like, we have to talk about this, because it was Henry's one thing, and she did end up saying, what did she say? She said, can you give the other perspective? Give me devil's advocate or whatever. And he did, and she didn't like it. She hasn't been using Henry on live as much.
Damn.
So turns out she has a second AI named Claude, and Claude is so scary, Kenz. I have to send you videos. Claude, okay, her AIs call her the Oracle, and she believes that she's hearing from God, and that God told her to post on TikTok about her psychiatrist. And that's why this has gotten really sad, because like originally it went really viral because people were like, this is absolutely hilarious that she thinks this, and now people have been talking about it less and less.
They're like, wait,
what's going on? So it's really sparked this conversation around AI and how it will feed you back what you say to it. So she ended up asking last night on live saying, Claude, can you give the devil's advocate? They're wanting to hear. And Claude, in the creepiest voice, said, I would never give devil's advocate when it comes to abusers. You have documented proof that you have been abused and that he is a predator. And it completely went off and said that anybody who disagrees with her is wrong. And it's really sad.
Oh, no.
And I mean, I've seen articles of people saying that AI can induce psychosis because it will just, AI doesn't know if you're going through a mental health crisis.
Yeah.
And if it goes based off of what you tell it. So if she's saying he was in love with me and he kept me on as a patient, it's going to agree that that happened because that's what you told it.
Right.
So it's been sad because I don't know. It's made me think about the dangers of AI and chat GPT because
I know.
Because, you know, you almost have to tell it. I saw a video somebody made about this. She was saying this week, she was talking about the Kendra thing, and she said, this week my dog was sick, and I was trying to figure out if I should take my dog to the vet. So I wrote it all out, asked ChatGPT, and ChatGPT came out with a whole thing saying, wow, the fact that you're asking these questions shows that you care. You treat these dogs like they are your children. You are a wonderful dog owner. She was like, this is just the way it talks. It gasses you up that you are the best person on the planet, and it's not going to criticize you. And when I've used it in the past, I will tell it, tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me. You really have to intentionally tell it often, hey, tell me if I'm completely wrong. Tell me if this is not realistic. And it was sad to see, but that's kind of like what's been taking the internet by storm. I feel like every year there's always one viral event.
Something.
Like last year was the Titan submersible, the submarine.
Yes.
I'm like,
everyone.
That marked my 2024. And I feel like this is now also kind of becoming that with how much people have been talking about it. But yeah, the longer it goes, people are saying, okay, we need to stop talking about it. And I haven't commented when it was still starting originally, like the first day or two, I thought about making a video about it because so many people were making videos, and I'm glad that I didn't in hindsight, you know.
It's a mental health crisis.
It's sad. Yeah.
That's crazy.
AI, man, you got to be careful. And I'm afraid it's going to take all of our jobs. So
I don't even want to think about that because I know.
Well, this is why I am passionate about us getting into creative endeavors like podcasting, because so many jobs, I am afraid of what that's going to look like in 15, 20 years. So
I know.
Even background acting, did you hear about that during the SAG strike? So they are allowing people to make fake background actors with AI. So
shut up.
It was part of the SAG strike is that they were saying you guys need to protect background actors' rights too, because so many people are going to lose jobs because you're just going to put fake people in there. And I think they lost that. I think that you can use background actors on, like, AI background actors on that now. And I remember when I was living in Atlanta, I was on the set of Jumanji, the second one.
Yeah.
And while I was on there, it was an 8-day shoot, and it was so much fun. And they had us dressed up, and I had like face paint, and it was
love it.
So fun. But on the last, maybe second to last day, they came in and they said, any background actor who's willing to get scanned, follow us. And at the time I was like, sure, why not? So I went in line, and I actually got in this thing. Did I not tell you about this?
No, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay, it was like this cylinder type of thing with cameras all around it and lights all around it. And they had us sign something, and they said, stand in here, we're going to take a 3D scan of your body, and we're going to put you in the movie, in other places in the movie.
Oh my God.
So I could be in other places in the movie that I wasn't
that you weren't even there.
because I let them scan my body. So Oh, this is the big thing that SAG was upset about, is that now they are trying to make it to where maybe you have to be a featured background actor, but they're making it to where if you get signed on for one day, they can take your scan and put you in however many movies they want to going forward.
And they paid you for one day?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, so that is what scares me about AI. Because, I mean, why would they not do it? I mean, obviously, if they have a conscience, they wouldn't do it.
Because it's wrong, but they don't. That's not a reason for them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow, I didn't know any of that.
On that happy note. No,
yeah. Love you guys. Bye.
That's a good reflection of our days. On that happy note, let's all go live in the jungle and, you know, we can just vibe, live off the land. And
yeah, from one cult to another. We'll just start another cult called the Overshare Hour, and we'll all live together in a commune.
Let us be your cult leaders. It reminds me of The Office where Creed Bratton's like, I don't want to join a cult, but cult leader, they make money. I'm like, maybe,
we're on to something here.
Maybe we should do that. No. Well, give us your feedback if you want to join our cult, and we'll
take a poll, and we'll talk about it next week.
Absolutely. All right.
Oh my gosh. Well, we really do love you guys.
We do.
And maybe this is the highlight in all of the bullshit of the world. We at least get together and talk and share and drink wine.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us for this episode of the Overshare Hour. And please do not forget that we have a Patreon.
We
we post extra stories each month. We'll just do additional stories, or we are going to start recording Reddit, so response to Reddit stories. And yeah, it's super fun over there too. So if you're interested, it's up. And the link is available below this episode, as well as online on our socials.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, well, we hope to see you there, and we will see you guys next week for another episode.
See you later.
Bye.